Okay. Think back about the moments chapter, guys. What was the condition for a moment to be produced, guys? What's the condition for a moment? What's the force and distance gonna be like? They must be good, excellent. For moments, we have learned that moments, the force and distance must be perpendicular to each other. But as for work done, the force and the distance must be parallel to each other. A simple example of work done is like, for example, today, if let's say I have a brick here or a block of mass or whatever, let's say this thing is it's like a block, whatever it is, right? Today, if I want to apply work done onto this block here, first and foremost, I must apply obviously force onto it, right? And in order for work to be done onto this block must travel a certain distance. It must travel a certain distance. So let's say, for example, for ease of calculation, let's say I have 10 newtons pushing onto this block, and then this block travels a total of 3 meters. Then the work done on this block will be force times distance, which is essentially 10 times 3, which means to say I would have successfully applied 30 joules of energy onto this block to cause it to move 3 meters. Okay, so the first condition here is the force and distance must be parallel to each other. Now today, if we say that when you push this block, there is work done, what if Oi, stop copying, oi, listen up, oi. What if today, right, I have a wall here. Let's say I have a wall here, and then I apply a force, a very large force. Let's say I apply 1000 newtons here. Will there be any work done? No, definitely not. Why? Because in order for work to be done, there was two conditions. You must apply a force, and this object must travel a certain amount of distance. So it doesn't matter, even if you're pushing this block idiotically against the wall, right, until you're sweating like crazy already, there is zero work to be done now. Or alternatively, in a physics-defined universe, if let's say this force applied to this block causes this block to move in this direction here, it will be considered to be zero work done as well, because the force and distance are not parallel to each other. Do you get? I mean, if this was a thing, right, then you would have generated a moment, but like I said, this is a physics-defined rule, right? It's impossible for you to apply a force and then make the block go upwards. It's impossible, right? If it's possible, then physics is broken already. Then everything else we know is no longer applicable anymore. Okay. Yes, Kevin, what do you want to ask? Okay. Yeah. So in the physics-defined world, if the force causes this block to move upwards, there is no work done also because the force and distance are not parallel to each other. Yeah, the force is not here. Exactly. Right? So the first condition here is work done. Okay, work done, it is force multiplied by distance. Easy. Very straightforward. Understand? Any questions for this part here? Okay, then the second one is potential energy. The full name is gravitational potential energy, guys. Gravitational potential energy is said to be energy due to your position. Okay, it's due to your position. Meaning to say, the higher you stand, the more gravitational potential energy you have. For example, today I have one person standing onto the ground versus another person standing on top of a building. Obviously, which one is going to have more gravitational potential energy? No, on top position, right? The higher the position, the more gravitational potential energy you have. So it is said that this guy here will have greater potential energy, and this guy here will have less potential energy. Okay. Now this also makes sense, also, right? Because if today this guy were to fall down onto the ground versus this guy falling down onto the ground, logically speaking, this guy is going to hurt more, right? Because he had more gravitational potential energy converting into the energy that smashes him down to the ground. Okay, so always remember, gravitational potential energy is energy due to your position. The higher you stand, the more gravitational potential energy you have. Gravitational potential energy has a formula of mass, yes, very good, times gravity multiplied by your height. So you have learned this before.
Potential, yes.
Okay. So usually we won't write the full equation here. We'll just say that PE is going to be equals to your mgh. Now you have to remember this, mgh, say it a few times in your head or say it out loud so that you hear yourself saying it, it will be easier to remember. Mass times gravity times height will be the amount of gravitational potential energy you have. For example, if this guy here is 50 kg, right, and he is standing on a height of 10 meters above the ground, right, then we can calculate the potential energy as 50 multiplied by gravity, which was good, excellent, 9.8 multiplied by 10. Press this in your calculator and you'll end up somewhere around 5,000 joules. You'll end up somewhere around 5,000 joules. Yeah, 4,900 something. Oh, yeah, 4,900 joules, right? So this will be the gravitational potential energy. Yes. Okay, so this is gravitational potential energy. Then the final one is basically kinetic energy. Kinetic energy, if potential energy is energy due to your position, kinetic energy will be energy due to your motion or movement. Excellent, right? So logically speaking, the faster you go, the more kinetic energy you have lah. For example, today if I have one person running at 5 meters per second versus another person which is running at 10 meters per second here, and obviously which one has the greater kinetic energy? The 10 guy long, right? This guy here is going to have more kinetic energy. And the formula for kinetic energy is given as half times mass. Wait. Times with your velocity square. Okay, it's in other words, the kinetic energy, the formula is given as half mv squared here, guys. Depending on your velocity, the faster you run, the more kinetic energy you have. So same thing, if let's say this guy is 50 kg here, then it's going to be like half multiplied by 50 multiplied by 10 square, which if you press in the calculator would be like 2,500. Yeah, it'll be 2,500 joules. It'll be 2,500 joules here. Okay, everyone, understand what I'm talking about? Anyone's got any question that you don't understand so far?
What unit is it from the
What?
Joule.
Bro, what did I just say?
All energy must be used.
Yeah, joules, understand? Okay, so looking back at the more structured notes here, an object may have energy due to its motion or position, and that energy may be transferred or stored. Now, the three examples are the formulas that the energy formula. Sorry, the energies that have formula. There are many other energies, guys. Kinetic energy, potential energy, chemical energy, sound energy, strain energy, nuclear energy, internal energy, and also electrical energy. What's chemical energy again, guys? Good. It could be due to the petrol exploding. That's why we say that petroleum contains chemical energy. What other example contains chemical energy? Humans like us today, how do we have energy within us? We eat the food, right? The food is actually stored as chemical energy in our body. That's why we can function. Another popular example of chemical energy is batteries, guys. You know, like the batteries, they convert chemical energy into electrical energy by using lithium, right? Lithium ions, right? So that is also chemical energy. That is one example. Sound energy, very straightforward. Sound, right? Anything that has sound energy, right? Strain energy. What's strain energy? What is strain energy? Strain energy is very similar. Yes, very good. Strain energy is very similar as elastic energy. Anything that is compressed or elongated will contain strain energy. For example, today, if I compress a spring, I'm storing strain energy in it, and when I let go, that strain energy that was stored will bounce it back into original position. So that is what we call strain energy. Okay, then nuclear energy is basically like nuclear the nuclear power plants or uranium and plutonium that generates electricity in the nuclear power plants. That's nuclear energy. What about internal energy? Anyone got the slightest idea what internal energy is?
Lead.
Organs.
What?
Or
Organs.
Lead.
Not exactly wrong. Blood. Not exactly wrong also.
Structure. The structure.
heart pumps blood.
No. You guys got the concept right, but not exactly what I'm looking for. Guys, anytime you see the word internal energy, guys, I want you to write this down because everyone always forgets this. Internal energy is anything that has heat inside. For example, human beings, we have internal energy, right? That's why our body is warm. If today I have a hot cup of water, it is said to have internal energy also because it is hot, right? But alternatively, a cold cup of water will not have internal energy. So anything that is hot inside is considered to have internal energy. Even in the question, sometimes they'll say that the surrounding internal energy. So they're basically asking why the surrounding is heating up. Okay, the surrounding internal energy is basically the heat there also. Yeah.
Is there a certain temperature determines what when it then
No, as long as it has heat, then you will have internal energy. Anything that has heat will have internal energy in it. Okay? For example, even this TV or a laptop that's hot, right? There's internal energy inside it really. Okay? Then finally, electrical energy is electrical energy, right? The thing that powers up. Yeah. Anything that's hot within will have internal energy. Yes. That's why it's always good to eat hot stuff than the cold stuff.
you start with
Yeah, but yeah, it is correct. Anything that has hot inside will have internal energy. Okay? And electrical is basically electricity. Anything that powers up all these electrical devices are electrical energy. Okay? Then these are the three energy formulas that you must know of. Work done, potential energy, and kinetic energy here. Work done is defined as the product of force and displacement or distance in the direction of the force. Pay attention, it must be in the direction of the force. And work done is equals to force times distance. Potential energy, full name gravitational potential energy, defined as the energy stored due to its position, is basically mgh. And then kinetic energy is energy due to its motion. The formula is going to be half mv squared here. Copy everything down and then do the 6 questions at the bottom.
if let's say the find distance, but then you need
What's the distance? Oh, yeah,
something
yeah. What else could it be?
how this is 1 kilo to 400 kilos.
It's a string.
Here's the working performance. Excellent. Exactly what we need to see. Before I you will be.
See this out with me.
You know,
No.
maybe something down. But now, share. You.
是我那个能力
是当我
我从然后按照好
This is not correct. What's the unit for velocity? Look at moment. What's the unit? What's the unit for velocity to your understanding? What have I told you? What's the general units for velocity? km per hour. Have I told you that? Huh? Meters per second, bro. What? Yeah, it's this one here is m squared s squared is because it's velocity squared. But in other words, it's meters per second multiplied by meters per second. So the units for velocity should be meters per second. Meters per second squared is acceleration. So in question number 4, you need to convert the km per hour into meters per second. Must 100% must.
Actually, right, this makes my useless. Like, what does like?
Helps you understand all around.
Yeah, we like think on his job. I was like, oh, you can not really
Yeah, it is.
boring.
It helps you understand the whole how it works so that later on you can develop a deeper understanding of how the mechanics work. Mechanics. Relax now, we general physics, you're going to go with that yet.
It's trying to thought that.
Maybe later you'll find that you love physics so much you want to major in physics.
Who's crazy enough to do that?
I was crazy enough to think about that.
Salary. No, how would I be so much to speak?
Hey, Shinyan, you done already? You on? Yeah, faster do that last question. Done already. Huh. Okay, great. Okay, check your answers, guys. The first one here, obviously, you're supposed to use the work done equals to force times distance formula. In this case here, it's obviously 100 times 15, which will give you 1,500 joules. Make sure you write your units. Then the next question here, they ask you to find the distance, given that this is the work done, right? And this is the force, right? So work done is equals to force times distance. Obviously, your distance will be your work done divided by your force, right? Which in this case here will be 1,000 divided by 25, which is going to give you 40 meters here. Make sure you write your units. Then find the kinetic energy, given that this is the velocity and this is the mass. Obviously, your kinetic energy formula will be half mv squared, right? Which in this case here will be half times 400 multiplied by your 30 square lah. Right, press that in your calculator and you'll get 180,000. What's units? Joules. Okay, then question number 4 is when it starts to get tricky, you'll notice that the units here is actually different. How do you convert this into meters per second? What do you get for your speed, your velocity in meters per second? 83.3, excellent. Is it okay if I wrote kgs per, you can, but it's not advisable, Shinyan. You need to write it in joules. In all units, always write it in joules. All the energy units. So, Shinyan, how much do you convert the 300 km per hour into meters per second? How much do you get for this one? Km per hour into meters per second. What? Km per hour? You mean meters per second, right? Yeah, okay, good. For those who do not know how to convert this, guys, the easiest way is to convert it one by one. This is 300 km per hour, right? So you ask yourself how much meters in a km lah, is 300,000 meters, right? And then how many hours, how many seconds are in 1 hour is 3,600 seconds, right? So you just press this in your calculator and you'll end up with 83.3 meters per second. Then you can do the half mv square formula. You can do the half mv square formula here, which will be half multiplied by 50,000 multiplied by velocity square, which is 83.3 square here. Press this in your calculator and you're going to get, I think, 1.77 times 10 to the power of 9. Don't write the whole number. If it's a big number, always change it into standard form. How much is it in standard form? Did you write the whole number as well? What do you write?
1.76.
8.
Yeah, that's about it.
Oh, okay, 8
Well,
joules.
this one,
Yeah, you know how to, do you know how to change this into standard form or not?
my calculator.
No, I mean, you can press that on here, change this to the standard form straight away, press this button.
Maybe let's change it to fraction.
I don't know if this is that one.
I'm not, I go back.
Okay, well, then do manually. Do you know you can start question, you know? Hey, okay.
这是 perfection 的 ，iron has another。这个是
This is the entry one, yeah. Then you can make it easier this way. Oh, it's 1.73, yeah. Is it?
Yeah, it's actually
Oh, oops. Then it should be 1.73, yeah. It should be 1.73 then. Times 10 to the power of 8. Xinyan, you also change, if you have a very big number, don't ever represent your answer in that form. Just yeah, obviously 不可以写这样多啦。Then you're lucky, but you'll not get it in IDs. You'll not get it in IDs. Make sure you write it in standard format, especially any just the general rule is if it's more than 5 numbers, right? Your answer is more than 5 numbers, then it should be in standard form already. Yeah, it should be in standard form already. Advisable not to, but 4 is acceptable. But even 4 also, you can only represent it in 3 significant figures. So even if, let's say, like you find 7777, right, you can only write it as 7780. So, you know, right? You can only represent it in 3 significant figures. All your answers, maximum 3 only. Okay? Okay. Then after that, this one here, yet again, you identify this as your mass, and this is your height, and you're asked to find gravitational potential energy. Now, obviously, it's going to be your MGH, right? Which is going to be 50 multiplied by 9.8 multiplied by 300. Just press this in your calculator, and you'll get a very standard answer. And this one here will be the same thing also. Initially, it's 5 kg at 5 meters above the ground and lifted another 5 meters. Yeah, so your height is a total of 10, right? So it's yet again MGH, which is your 5 multiplied by your 9.8 multiplied by 10, right? And press this in your calculator and you'll get 400. Okay, everyone got this, No questions, Excellent. Then we move on to the next part, which is the principle of conservation of energy, which is very similar to your principle of conservation of momentum. What was principle of conservation of momentum again? Total momentum before is equals to, good. This was your principle of conservation of momentum. For principle of conservation of energy, it is very similar as well. They basically state that in an isolated system, this is one system, this is one system, this is one system. The energy is neither increased nor decreased, right? It is always transferred from one form to another. You know, like the Einstein saying, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It is always transferred from one form to another. Right, have you heard of this before? Hey, did you just remove your braces?
So,
Oh, that's why you look different today. I've been wondering. Oh, you look different. Was it just this week or what? Or last week? Okay, very good. Anyways, yeah, the Einstein saying energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It is always transferred from one form to another, right? This is the exact same scenario as well. In your IGCSEs, they love to convert kinetic energy into potential energy or vice versa, right? So, story time once again. Let's imagine today. Sorry? Let's imagine today I have decided that I want to end my life. Yet again, I need to clarify that I am not thinking of killing myself anytime soon. This is purely for the sake of explaining this concept here. Okay? This is the best way already. Students will always remember this one. So at this point, obviously, because I'm at the highest point of my life or the lowest point of my life, right? But literally I'm at the highest point of my life, then obviously my potential energy is going to be 100%, right? Right, because at the potential energy due to your position, and because I haven't decided to jump yet, I have no motion, then my kinetic energy is going to be at 0%, correct? So the moment I have decided to end my life, right, then I'll jump down, or when I jump down here, I would have lost 50% of my height, and because I have lost 50% of my height, then at this scenario here, my potential energy is only left with 50%, right? Where did the rest of the 50% go? It is converted into kinetic energy. Excellent, which explains why I have motion at this point, right? Because my potential energy, which was initially 100%, right now is converted 50% into kinetic energy. That's why you can see that right now this guy has motion, right? He's basically moving downwards already, right? Wait, I don't get why your height decreased, because I'm dropping down to hell already.
Yeah, but actually, how does your height go down by 50% before?
Because you're dropping down, bro. At this point here, let's say you're like 100 meters, right? Then here you would have lost like 50 meters, right? That's why. Oh no, bro, not the height of the. Were you thinking about the height of the human also, Xinyan? But why would the body height suddenly decrease as you want to kill yourself? That doesn't make sense, right, bro? Bro. And if anything, don't you see that I drew this guy longer? Right, that's a very weird thought process, the both of you guys who somehow thought about the exact same thing. Weird, right? But anyways, you understand, right? I've lost 50% of my height, the height from the building, not the person's height. You don't suddenly grow into a midget when you decide to kill yourself. I mean, but that's a meme right there, boys. Okay, so this is because converted the potential energy is lost and converted into kinetic energy. And 0.00001 second before I land onto the ground, right? And die, obviously, right? Obviously, I've lost all my height, right? Then obviously my potential energy here will be how much percent? 0%. Where would it have all gone to? Kinetic energy, which explains why, because right now I have more kinetic energy, it explains why he's moving faster, right? As you fall further and further and further, your speed is going to go faster and faster and faster, right? Now, this is basically how your IGCSEs will like to ask you this, okay? They'll always ask you to convert the potential energy into kinetic energy here. So let's say, for example, today in your exam, right, you know what they'll like to do? They'll like to ask you like, okay, find out what the speed here will be, okay? In order to find what the speed here is, you must be given two things. Number one, the height, right? And number two, the mass of this guy. So let's say, for example, he is 50 kg for ease of calculation. At this scenario here, at the green color scenario here, if I use mgh to find the potential energy, it will be basically 50 for for ease of calculation, I'll use 10 as gravity and the height of 100, right? So from here, it will essentially be 50,000 joules of energy, right? At this scenario here, right? At the position 1 lah. Then at position 2, because I've lost 50% of it, right? Then obviously my potential energy is only 25,000 joules, lor. And then this kinetic energy will be 25,000 joules as well. Evan, stop looking at your damn phone. Right. So this is where I can start calculating my kinetic energy already, because I know the kinetic energy right now is 25,000, right? Then I can do the half mv square formula, lor. Kinetic energy is equals to half mv square. Right, in this scenario here, it will be 25,000 is equals to half multiplied by 50 multiplied by my v square. Hey, press this in your calculator, tell me how much is v. 6. Yeah. So at this instance here, it will be 31.6 meters per second. With just the height and the mass, I can calculate how much speed this is really using the potential energy converted into kinetic energy. Right. Then at this final blue color scenario here, how do I find the velocity? Aaron, think about it and do your calculation. Tell me how much will the velocity be at the blue color position? Looking for the velocity at the blue color position. Excellent. 44.7. Okay. You all know how to find this 44.7, right? Do you all know how to find it? Then why are you okay just now? Okay, right? Yeah, really ask, I don't know how to do. Bloody hell. How to find it? Let me see, how do you find 44.7? Tell us. Right, so this is basically just understanding what the whole scenario is only, right? If at 100% of kinetic energy, then it's 50,000 joules, or like what we calculated originally. Because the principle of conservation of energy states that at this scenario, we'll have 50,000 joules, at this scenario, we'll have 50,000 joules, and at this scenario, I'll have 50,000 joules as well, because the energy is conserved. So yet again, if I know that this is 50,000 joules, I can use the half mv square formula, and I'll be able to find the v square here using simple algebra already. Chinyan, did you manage to find 44.7 also or not? Evan, you find, make sure you can find 44.7.
Yeah.
Got it, So now if you look here, guys, I want you to pay attention to this, which a lot of students, they have this common misconception. They think that because the energy here doubles up from 35,000 to 50,000. Don't right, look first. When they think that because the energy doubles up, they will straight away think that, oh, the speed here just doubled up, becomes 63.2 meters per second. But in reality, you know for a fact that this is not true, because the kinetic energy is not proportional to velocity. The kinetic energy is directly proportional to velocity square. So you cannot assume that you double up the velocity. Sorry, you cannot assume that when you double up the kinetic energy, the velocity will double up. This is definitely not true, and you have already calculated these two values to see for yourself that this is definitely not true. You understand what I'm talking about? Right. So one more thing I want to say is that in this scenario, in this whole diagram that I've drawn, do you think in the real life scenario, let's say I were to die, I want to jump down and die, right? Do you think I'll ever reach 44.7 meters per second? Do you think it's possible?
Wait,
Will my speed be more less or the same as 44.7 meters per second in a real life scenario? More. So you think I'll fly even faster, is it? 50. Why? Why will we become more?
The more
No.
force, the
Wrong.
because way more.
No, wrong. It is wrong. In fact, in reality, I will be much slower than 44.7. Maybe maximum I can only go is 40 meters per second only. Why? Because in these examples here, guys, I'm assuming that 100% of the potential energy is 100% converted into kinetic energy. Yes. In reality, you know that's not possible. I cannot 100% convert it into kinetic energy, because energy will be lost to the surrounding. When I fall, right, there's air resistance, right? Air resistance will generate heat. In other words, in a real life scenario, I won't even get 100% here. Maybe I can only get 80% only. Where did the other 20% go? Some of it is converted into heat energy due to air resistance, maybe 10%. Where did the other 10% go? Already no height already, still got potential energy, man. Into the surrounding, yes, into the surrounding as what energy? What? Ground is sound, excellent. It is going to be sound energy, guys, which makes sense, right? When you run very fast, you can hear the wind in your ears, right? That sound didn't come from the surrounding. It is because your energy is converted into the surrounding energy. If you fall in the vacuum, then no sound. But most likely when you want to die, let's say for example KLCC, it will be in the atmosphere, and when there is the atmosphere, it will have air molecules. What? Just what? But then you're hallucinating already. You better lay off the drugs already.
Is it possible for the body to fall apart if there's enough potential energy going around it?
A body to fall apart, as in like you fall, then suddenly your legs separate from your body. Lay off the drugs, kids.
So, fall apart.
Yeah.
I think
Okay, I know what you're thinking about already. You're thinking like the plane, if it like crash, then the wings break off, right?
let's take partner to drum the same day, then you will be playing like right now. Like this is the big gas lane, but it's
Yes, it's maneuverable.
but because it's not a magic you must use too much to point it fall apart.
Yeah, that's possible because the plane was not meant to endure the stress. Then yeah, it will fall apart. But if you're a body, like
So our bodies.
you're flying downwards, like,
So
okay, your body will only fall apart, right? If let's say for example, right, you strap yourself onto the chair, right? Then you spin damn fast, and then one part of your hand is like flimsing around one. Then the spin must be very, very fast. It must be so fast that because your body is strapped to the chair and your hand is like flinging around, right? Then yeah, it will tear apart if the stress is enough. But that's like a very, 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 very unlikely scenario.
So most majority of the time we die in one piece.
Yes, unless you fall to the ground, then you smash into 1,000. Not 1,000 pieces, a lot of your internal body. What can think? Yeah. Oh,
Stuck into the moon. And then go down. Okay, stop.
oh my god.
Well,
Yeah.
well done.
Shit, man, seriously. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, the hair got.
That's why now it's not.
It doesn't got that's
Why not? It's possible with the hair, like a lot of hair just get caught into the machine, then the machine is pulling her up, then the seat is going down, then. God, that's definitely wrong. It's like. Sportsman. It's like.
See, most people make friends, but then my school is a totally different thing. It's something like having my school. I know at least one person to say, ah, what the fuck.
You sure? Everyone says that only wait until they get into the real thing.
Okay, so we were going to Langkawi in one trip. This person basically fell down the river, and then this guy is about himself. And then this dude just go, hey, dude, it's evil.
It's not real danger until you see real trauma, bro. Then it will be so funny. Yo, if I see that, right, I'll be traumatized, man. What the? Well, I tell you, the one time I saw this happen, right, was a little kitten, when I was in university with Gilbert, right? So we were walking to eat, right? Then suddenly this very small little cat, like kitten, right, it was walking across the street. And I even told Gilbert, oh, look, a small little kitten. Then as I say that, right, the car literally reversed and smashed the head on. What the? I looked at the kitten literally flat on the ground.
Hey,
What do you think, bro? What do you think? Huh? This ain't no cartoon, bro. It didn't bounce back up. That's definitely not gonna happen. No, I'm like, I'm like, oh look, what a cute little. Oh, man, I tell you, I'm like,
That one did
no, it was a big 4-wheel drive. The guy was he was not in the wrong because he parked his car and the kitten just walked behind the tire. And then I also didn't see the car was reversing. Then when he reversed, want to go right, and then went off already. And I'm like,
Then what you do? You saw it.
walk away now. Freak on the kitten a little bit lor. But yeah, it was a bit what the GG and straight away, I think. Okay. Life is truly full of surprises, you must say. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, this is essentially what you're supposed to do, guys. Yeah, this is like what I told you right now. Follow these instructions and do the first 3 questions, boys and girls. No.
Something like sleeping. Say the room was it was then suddenly the room like big. Turn. It's like nothing else. So everyone is small. Something that my sister came down and then it's like on his class because everyone
Someone jumped
on first exam
in Singapore. GG. Man. In the boarding room, GG. So she heard the tong sound. Your sister heard it. The friend heard it. Oh, shit. What? Singapore 很多的，yeah, a lot of stress from Singaporeans. Seriously, man. 很 stress 因为地方又小 then they stay in a very very small room. 我那天在新加坡回来了，我 friend 跟我讲啊，这样子的房间啊，400 square feet 啊，3000块 SGD。pay 啊 ，not pay 啊，是租啊。我买啊，哦，可是那个是 city center 啦 ，right， 有远一点的呀，可是很贵，真的很贵，很离。It's like, 10,000 块 is equivalent to a 2 million house that you buy, not rent. I think I should consider. Oh, you're going to Singapore, is it? All I can say is good luck. You have to have a very strong mental capacity to go there. 那边人又假输，又精神又高。But I would say their education, yeah, 一定的。But their education is, I would say, is honestly better. Same. Yeah, and then but they're very like it's like because they have to consider 我一定要好过你，不然的话我进入到 Yeah，一定的 ，because I have to be better than you，不然的话我进不到那个学校。So it's like a dog eat dog world there. Okay, no one is going to help you like Malay. Malay is like, oh, 借我抄功课，OK，哦，我没有做功课，可以借我抄，OK. It's like, oh, I don't care, it's just homework, no one will come. But if you Singapore, no, it's my own. Why should I give it to you? 假输假戏啊。Malaysia don't care. It's like, oh, okay, nah. Whatever we do, it's homework. No one cares, right? It's homework. 我跟你讲，我 exam 啊，okay, okay, yeah, but yes, common exam don't no cares. Yeah, do these few questions, guys. 你之前也是很多 stress 吗？在新加坡，他才刚回来，没有 continue 在
humans. Like 你要读的东西啊，it's like G versus 这个 B。因为讲他常常在读，也愿意他觉得 instant 什么，所以呀，
就是他在那边。But 如果你 persevere 的话，
she has like 超很多回到 every single day。
真的吗？
他很 stress，他想要白的话要怎么做人？
Yes, medical students. Wait until 你做 houseman 那时候更 stress 啊，你知道吗？你做 houseman 去哦，really？try out and see 你的 limit 到哪里。都好，it's good also 啦。You can see where your limit stands. It's good 的。你呢 Australia？对啊。Australia is the best. Relax, have fun, enjoy. Oh, asking her where she wants to go later after this. Australia.
16 hours in like
Ah, they're going Australia.
no,
I finished school already, man.
the thing is that okay, you know that engineering thing that driving, but they send me to the physical machine.
Oh, nice. Good. That's good exposure. And then you can get to learn and see different
Yes.
things. It's easy. Good. It's a good experience. Try to get involved with things in high school. Then you can learn different things. And
Actually, yes. I think the worst one, which I know for this one, the worst one is actually when we did. It's politics is law. And then politics, you know how politics is, you know. Every politics, you know.
because it's a dog world.
It's and like every single second.
Dog world, bro. Do you want great history questions before we end the day?
Yep.
Follow some best times.
When you go to see extreme, the extreme difference in the world in the sense that one side of the Manila really looks very nice, then the other side looks like a slum. So this indicates that the poor are really poor there and the rich are really rich there.
So basically KL bubble.
KL, no, it's much worse than KL, bro. You'll really see it. There's literally the left side is like a slum, and the right side is like a city center. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, 那个是 Northmont KL, right? It's talking. Yeah,
I go
yeah, similar like that. Similar like that.
I go to 4 or 5 times a week, so I don't really. The thing is that when you go to like that area, it's so goddamn cheap for some reason. You go to the rich people's area, what the fuck that people will get for a fucking taco?
Yes, welcome to capitalism. Experience. No.
We hear the dollar in the night, black hole.
This is wrong.
See, I don't.
And it shouldn't do it as smart. I don't understand.
I'm still already.
It's true.
Yeah, but then go again.
Oh, this is our show.
It's actually fine.
Yeah, keep firing.
No.
Okay.
Just like end of life, as we know it. If I don't have try to be either a goat, a dog, or a bird. I don't want. What do you think birds do? Fine.
Dogs.
Dogs like a more better life than people.
Yes. Here you see. I got.
No more human. I'll be a dog.
There it is.
Sorry.
Nah, it's it.
Yes, I
But yes, I don't. But if I'm wrong, right, send me right to hell to punish me now. I'm wrong. But I believe. I think
That's how you think about likeness. Don't mind what religion you are, then if there's always to do good things, you're going to stay. And then it's not that it's about even if your other things you don't stick well.
I know, right? But Christians say the same thing as well. You're a Christian, right? No? Oh, if the Christian, right, they say that only if you believe in Jesus, you will go to heaven. So you have to like repent for your sins and everything. I believe there is a higher energy, which is what you guys call God, right? That somewhat constitute this around. Because if you think about it, right? Actually, if you think about it, like we human beings, we think that we're large, right? But and we see like microorganisms are atoms and everything is very small. But if you compare that to human, right, it's like the size of human and the Earth. But if you compare the Earth to the galaxy, right, it's like we're just a speck of dust in the ever vast universe that we do not know of. So I think there is definitely more things that science has not explained. I believe there is a higher energy, right? But I don't know if it's Jesus who
Why you think grandchildren like
I don't believe in. I believe they roam the earth and meant good for everyone, but I don't think that when I die I'll see them. I don't think I'll see these Jesus good out. Okay, you're done very much.
think the thing that as much as the thing I don't like is that it's like we are focusing on doing something and then suddenly our exam has to start talking about the same. Yeah. Like 5 times every single day. The worst time is in the morning because you cannot skip that no matter what.
I don't care also.
Yeah, not voting, right?
No, definitely not.
And it's
Definitely not voting. I don't care. Last time I went to vote, right? I woke up damn early. I tell you, like 6:30. I woke up. I went to go line up already. No, 6 o'clock. I went to wake up and I went to vote already. I'm thinking like in my heart, I'm thinking like, okay, ini kali lah. This is time for change. Malaysia will become better. Of course, Pakatan Nasional lah. Sorry, Pakatan Harapan the time because Tun M he persuade me, right? He's like, okay, guys, I'm new leaf now, guys. I'm no longer the sly fox that you think I am, and then vote for me, guys. I'll help change Malaysia. Then I'm like, yeah, I really, yes, Tun M, go. I tell you, I stayed up all the way until 4 o'clock until the whole ballot, everything was finished counting. Wow, at that moment when they say that Pakatan Harapan won, right? Wow, I tell you, I was so happy. I'm thinking like, yes,
and
this
it's
is it already. Malaysia is finally going to change already. Out of this tyranny of the virus national.
Yeah.
Yes, Malaysia, go Malaysia. And I'm like, yes, I'm Malaysian. Yes. Then 2 years later, some shit show happened, the struggle of power. And then Muhyiddin, Sabi lah. If you ask me to do it again, no. One time enough already. Now I don't believe you. Everything I don't care.
but you the shit he got himself into when
It's the same shit. I heard this guy is power hungry like crazy, man.
But okay, this is maybe, but just maybe. I think he saw all the company, he saw and then fuck no.
I don't know, but I just think that all this politics is all same. They tell you
Yes.
one thing and then they do another thing. At the end of the day, it's just a power struggle to see who can be on top. So no more politics. No more. Enough. Okay, guys. I want you guys to go back and finish this as your homework, guys. Right, we'll continue the rest of the chapter next week, guys. All right, that will be it for today. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to come ask me. If not, then enjoy the rest of your night. Bye bye.
And tomorrow we start somewhere in the
Yeah.